Namaskar and welcome to the next part of the video lecture series, Strategic Management. In this part, we are going to discuss strategic control techniques. Well, in the various techniques we have for strategic control, the major ones are premise control, implementation control, strategic surveillance and special alert control. Premise, as you know, is the set of assumptions you make before taking any decisions. For example, a person, we will take the example of an individual first. A person wishes to go on a vacation, let us say to a hill station. Assuming that the hill station would be very cold, the temperature out there would be very low and the climate would be very chilly. He or she packs up a lot of warm clothes and visits this place, but it turns out due to some problem, maybe due to climatic warming, due to drastic changes in the weather, the place is not as cold as he or she expected, and all that luggage that he took along was in vain. So, what went wrong here? The premise, the assumption that the weather out there would be very cold, that is where he went wrong or she went wrong. The miscalculation happened in the premise. Similarly, all strategy implementation is done on the basis of certain assumptions about the environmental conditions, both the environments, internal as well as the external. Normally, when we say environment, it is the external environment, but in case the internal climate, organizational climate also has seen drastic changes during the implementation or just before the implementation, then the strategy might backfire, might not go as intended. So, in those cases also, the premise, the set of assumptions that you made before implementing the strategy or choosing a strategy has changed. So, how to control premise? How to control the assumptions that you make? Well, if you continuously monitor the assumptions, if you continuously keep checking with Google weather, how is the climate in the hill station? Is there a lot of rain out there, or is it very sunny, or is there is a very heavy snowfall expected out there in the next week or so? If you continuously check for the weather updates, maybe you call up a hotel which is located there and you take the information from them first hand. So, in those cases, you are actually performing premise control. So, for an organization also, there are techniques through which premise can be controlled. For example, the momentum control. Momentum basically means speed. Going too fast in implementation of a strategy or going too slow, both have repercussions. Going too fast might involve a huge amount of resources, putting a strain on the finance department, putting a strain on the budgetary allocations. So, in that case, you might want to tune them down a little bit. So, you want to reduce the allocations made to all these divisions, so that they are bound and they are made to wait till the funds arrive. Nothing can move on the ground, so you made them wait. So, that is an artificial shortage the evaluator or the controller deliberately creates, so that the momentum can be controlled. Similarly, if the progress achieved is not very satisfactory, if they are growing a little slow, you might like to push them a little. You might, if you talk to them and find out that okay, some environmental factors have changed, suppliers have increased their demand and their prices have gone up a little. In that case, you might like to reevaluate your costing. So, in that case, your costing might increase a little bit, thereby affecting your profitability, your margins. Your trade margins are going to be impacted due to that. So, in that case, again, you will have to allocate more budget. So, these are certain examples of momentum control through budgetary allocations. Similarly, Strategic leap control. This is taken when the external environment, the business environment is unstable. A lot of factors are changing very fast. In that case, you will have to probably pause a little. You will have to take stock of what is happening in the environment. You might have to look at what small adjustments can be made inside the teams. This is where, this is where those strange layoffs can be explained. Suddenly, a big shot in an organization disappears. He doesn't or she doesn't report the next day. In that case, probably it is the action taken by the very top management. They might have spotted a few mistakes by that person way ahead of time, and they had waited for an appropriate time to let him or let her know and ask him or her to step down, probably into a different role. So, those are examples of strategic leap control which are taken when the situations are turbulent, when the environment is changing more than you expected or faster than you expected. The next control technique is that of implementation control. Obviously, premise control is done at the input stages. Implementation control is done at the implementation of strategy. So, some techniques are strategic thrusts and milestone reviews. What are strategic thrusts? Well, you might observe that a product has done well in the past, but due to some reason its sales have declined over the past 1 or 2 quarters. Now, in such a case, it needs a boost, a thrust. What kind of boost can you give a product? Probably repackaging. Probably you will change the color of the packaging or replace the plastic packaging with a kind of very attractive paper packaging or Tetra Pak packaging, who knows. So, in this case, you might enhance the appeal of the product, maybe even decrease the price, or maybe give a freebie, maybe give a very attractive promotional scheme for existing and new customers, like telecom operators have been doing since the past few years. So, basically telecom has survived on promotions, giving freebies. In India, I am talking about in the telecom industry in India. One or two players have changed the entire dynamic of the telecom scenario. How did they do that? Well, they introduced certain strategic thrusts in their strategy. They introduced certain very attractive propositions for the market, and it worked. All of these strategic thrusts, they worked, which resulted in entirely wiping out the competition in the Indian telecommunication sector. So, strategic thrusts are very specific, narrow courses of action which are designed to improve performance of a strategy in a very short period of time. Milestone reviews. You are implementing a certain strategy and you have broken down the implementation into several time frames, maybe weekly, fortnightly. You want a review to take place at each of these time intervals. This is one style of reviewing. There could be a milestone review also. Let us say you had a annual target of achieving 10 million units in sales, and you want your product manager, brand manager, marketing manager to inform you when they reach the 1 million mark, the 2 million mark, the 3 million mark, and so on. At each million unit of sales, you want the management to sit down and talk. You want them to review whether this implementation is on track or has deviated. So, you want to understand whether the first 1 million units had come in the planned time or had exceeded the time frame in which they wanted to achieve this sales. Whether the second million was achieved at extra cost, or did you actually have to increase the prices? Did the trade margins decrease? Was there a change in political power? Did some new party come to power due to which legal changes were brought about? Now in the third million, do you have to pay more taxes due to the new taxation system? Now in the fourth million units, where sales impacted, or was the time taken longer due to demonetization? In the fifth million, did corona impact your sales negatively? So at each million units of sales, you are conducting a review, and these 1 million, the chunks of 1 million, this one chunk is referred to as a milestone. So you have decided that for me, a review period would be then when I achieve 1 million additional units in sales. So for different strategies, the milestone could be different. So at each milestone, you want to take a break or maybe stop the management team and then have a discussion with them about the progress or the implementation of the strategy. So that is about milestone review and implementation control. We'll move on to strategic surveillance. What is strategic surveillance? It is basically undisclosed monitoring. It is basically undisclosed monitoring of the business environment, internal as well as external, the organizational climate as well as the outside environment for opportunities. Now there might be hidden opportunities which you might not have observed when you chose, formulated or implemented the strategy. But now you are able to see that okay, this trainee that we hired last year, he or she is showing a lot of promise. Let us promote him or her to a position where he can or she can perform better. Maybe that is one kind of output that you received by monitoring the team. Maybe if in a joint venture, it could be that the partner or your foreign partner or your Indian partner has a very good scientist in their team, or they have a very good team of scientists and they are underutilized. Maybe you observe this by surveillance, by taking the help of people in your team who monitored them by not disclosing them, or at a very, they monitored them from a distance, just observed their activities, just observed their mannerisms, and they concluded that no, these people, they are in the wrong environment. If we give them this extra bit of help, they'll perform even better, much better. So opportunities can be anywhere, inside the organization or outside in the business environment. Probably some person who had been working with you has gone on to work with the competition, with your competitor. You, when that person was in the team, you were a very close confidant of that person. You were very close and you shared a nice rapport. When he or she decides to leave your company and go there, you did not lose contact. You were continuously discussing with him or her, and you found out through him or her that the competition was going to take a major decision. Now this is nothing wrong, okay, this is not illegal. You came to know something due to your personal relationship, and this information is vital, could be vital for your strategy. That is how you did not disclose to the competition that you are monitoring them, but your person was there in its company, and through this link you got to know something. Maybe that could result in your competitive advantage, or you might get an edge over the competition. So these are basically informal methods. These cannot be classified as very proper or very legal. They are neither legal nor very illegal. They are just social interaction means. Strategic surveillance is carried out through just means of social interaction, through the help of technology, and these days it is also done with the help of a lot of data analytics. Big data can be used to give to pop up many surprising results from data. So That is about strategic surveillance. The last one is special alert control. Special alert control is normally in legal terms there is this clause called as the force majeure. Special alert is basically monitoring natural environment, supplier environment, legal environment, regulatory environment for unforeseen events. Now, in the natural environment, there could be an earthquake or a tsunami warning or an earthquake forecast or a storm forecast. All of these decisions or all of these warnings or predictions could mean a lot to your business, to mean a lot to your strategy. In that case, you might like to be prepared before any such eventuality. I would not call them disasters because they are not disasters. Okay, it is just a course of action that nature decides to take. So, in this course of action, your business is coming in the way, and you need to adjust because nature is not going to adjust. You need to adjust in such a way that the damage to your plan is minimized. This can be done properly if you have a special alert control mechanism in place. If you have people, 1 or 2 people dedicated just monitoring the natural environment, just looking up weather channels, just looking up labor unions, what is the discussion, latest discussion among the factory level workers? Are they discussing bonus? Are they discussing delayed payments? Are your shareholders discussing dividends? What are the rumors going around in the market? So, if there is a group of people in your team which is dedicated just to keep a surveillance of the external environment for such unforeseen events which cannot be controlled, then you are performing the act of controlling through special alert. So, those are the commonly used tools of strategic control. If you plan ahead and before time, strategic control is very effective. If you plan at the last moment, strategic control can still be effective, but there will be a cost involved. So, that is all about strategic control. I hope I have made it clear to you. Thank you for watching the video.